It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That's brand new stuff from the band Prong from their Ruining Lives CD. And digital, I guess, these days. That tune was called Chamber of Thought. And here's a guy that always has the thought chamber loaded. It's the one, the only. It's Tommy Victor from Prong. Tommy, how are you, man?
Great, Chris. How are you today?
Excellent, man. Dude, got to tell you right off the start, I'm a longtime Prong fan. My favorite album would be Rude Awakening. I've listened to this album got to be 36 times at this point, and I can't believe how fast this is for you. This is like the fastest thing you've ever done.
Took about 3 months to do, and that includes writing lyrics, putting tracks together, and mixing, and doing vocals. Yeah, I mean, I guess the experience I've had in the last 6 years on-the-job training, working on records, I was able to do it really fast, so I'm very happy about it. And the tempos are fast on the songs too. So I don't know if you mean
that's more what I was meaning was the tempos. Every
the tempos
song.
Are yeah, man. You know what? It's as far as guitar playing goes. I'm trying to push the envelope more again. Mm-hmm. Where, like you talk about Rude Awakening, for instance, where the guitar was sort of a secondary role in a lot of ways. Now, again, playing these doing other records and just beefing up my guitar playing and. Why go slow? Go faster. So, I mean, there's some mid-tempo stuff on there, and there's a lot of groove songs. But, yeah, I mean, the song A Book of Change, actually, I'm getting a lot of comments of that one. I mean, that is just blisteringly fast. And, I mean, it's challenging for me to play, and
Sure.
I really needed to do that. So, I'd like to, I'm really interested in what people think of those songs.
Sure. Now, is this kind of a conscious change for you to speed everything up and make the songs faster and harder, or is it just kind of the way you've grown as a musician as time's gone by?
Well, again, it's as far as challenging myself as a player. I mean, I'm not really that. I'm one to sit and practice and learn other people's stuff. So, when it comes to putting the riffs down, I'll just pump up the BPM on my GarageBand, and I set my guitar in there, and I see what comes about. So, it wasn't really a conscious change. It's just based on the fact that that's more exciting. It did sound like an old band that's just lumbering through stuff. Pushing the envelope a little bit on what you're doing. I think that it makes it more exciting and more modern, really.
Sure. Now, another song that, in my eyes, seems to be very different from anything else in the catalog is Come to Realize. Has this odd timing or pacing or whatever you want to call it. It's just different than anything you've ever done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the time signature is. It's like a 6/8 on during the pre-verse parts. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit intrigued by math metal and obviously the gods of it being Meshuggah, and just in my psyche, I guess, and listening to some of the bands, I was, and coming up with riffs. I mean, it's sort of internal, and I guess what comes out is what it is, and that's just a riff that came out, and we try to make a song out of it was a challenge, but no, I mean, it came together really well, and I appreciate you noticing that because it is something different for Prong. But with the other parts interjected, it almost relates back to, and it comes out almost like something on the second half of Cleansing, really, because It's almost like this avant-garde rock alternative piece as well as being like a math metal thing.
Sure. Now, Tommy, talk a little bit about who exactly Prong is now in 2014. Who do you have playing with you, and are they players or are they members? Meaning, do they work with you in the writing, or do you come up with everything and then they play what you write?
Well, actually, on the record, I work with this friend of mine, Chris Collier. And he because Alexi Rodriguez got this regular job and he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So with Chris and I put the songs together. And then, it's pretty much a team up between the both of us. And then, the touring lineup is what it is, and, people's schedules dictate what's going on a lot. And, yeah, I mean, that's just the way what happened on this one. I had to get it done. They put a deadline on it, the label, and I don't like to fool around with these windows of opportunity anymore. It's like, You have to deliver this by February 20th, and that's what had to be done, regardless of who was involved.
Sure. Is it difficult now with the business being so different than it used to be? I mean, obviously, you're saying the labels are putting okay, we have to have it by here done. But in the old days, that meant a big influx of money that was due to you, so that you could go out on tour and all that other things. And that's obviously changed now. Is it difficult to work within the new confines of the new world of the business?
Well, like any business that you're involved in this day and age, you have to adapt, and we don't have any control personally over the climate and anything that anybody does, and things are tougher than they were in the 90s for everybody, regardless whether you're in CGI or computer programming to broadcasting, and it's just, you have to learn some way to adapt, and I don't think about those things now. I just make it happen, and what the climate is out there, I have no control over. And if I fall short of adapting, then then I'm out of the game, and that's pretty much how it rolls for everybody these days.
Sure. Now, Tommy, you've been in two large bands as well as Prong, so 3 large bands overall. But how difficult is it for you, to be in, I don't know, Ministry or Danzig, whichever band, and then turn around and do your own thing, and then kind of split time between your babies and their baby, is that difficult to do?
Of course it is. That's what makes my career, and that's something I have to make sacrifices in order to do that. Obviously I can't do a lot of the things that quote unquote normal people do. I mean, right. It's jumping off of planes, running to a Danzig rehearsal from a Prong tour to jumping tours. Like, Prong last year, we did festivals in Europe, and I had some Danzig ones amidst that. And I'm like running from Finland and getting on a plane and going down to Milan, Italy, and then getting on a plane back. I mean, right. It's just otherwise, again, like you have to adapt these situations. If there's somebody calls me up and wants me to work with them, I feel obligated, because I feel like I have to do it. As I'm called on to do something. So yeah, I mean, it's hard, man. I mean, it really is. But sometimes, I'm the type of person that I get fearful of things, and then when I walk through it, it tends not to be as scary and as hard as it was.
Sure.
So I've learned to walk through these situations, and as stressful as they may be.
I've got to think, though, on some level, it might be frustrating for you as a creative person to step into, say, a Danzig recording session or something, and be like, yeah, we should do it this way. And then they're saying, no, that's not how we do it here in Danzig. You know what I mean? That's so different.
I've learned to keep my mouth shut. It's like when I'm in a position like that, I know the role I'm in, and right. I have to just accept that again, and know how to deal with those situations. And it's sort of a reciprocal thing. I mean, you learn to respect people in whatever position they're in, and whether they're helping me out or I'm helping somebody else out. And the main objective is to get it done, and not throw our egos around, really.
Sure. Let me ask you a serious one here. Certainly no secret you were in Ministry and you played with 2 guys that have passed away recently, Paul and Mike. And it's also no secret that Al's had his fights with demons, basically throughout his career. What is it from your experience that goes on within Ministry that makes it, I guess less advantageous to, long life or long? Is it a self-destructive thing? Because obviously some of the music, deals with a lot of that stuff. Is that what you think causes or has caused these kind of things to happen in the past?
That's a fantastic question, and I've done a lot of interviews, and people have asked about Ministry and that situation, and you're the first one that has really hit the essential, the biggest question of it all. And I mean, it's a hard situation to be in. Like when I got in there, I was like, let's put it this way. I'll just go from my experience. Like when I got in there, I was like running 5 miles a day. I was clean and sober, and then the environment around there. By the time I got out of a couple of tours, I was like smoking and like drinking again. And it's just, that's the decision I made is like, in order to fit in, you got to do certain things. However, a guy like Sin Kieran, I mean, he was able to work with Al and keep to his own identity. And I got to give him a lot of kudos for that. I mean, he and Al respected him for that. So, you can get caught up or you don't get caught up. And that's the decision you make. So, you can't blame Al for, Mike's and Raven's departure from this realm, really. So, everyone's got their own personal decision to make and choose their own lifestyle. So you can't blame anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Is it, from your experience, is it solely just the environment, or does it have anything to do with the creative process, or not at all?
No, I mean, I think that any kind of substance abuse and that whole thing delays and clouds a project.
Okay.
And I hope Al can get to that point right now. But he's always relied on that in order to believe that he's creative on the whole thing. And hopefully, when he pulls out of whatever he's going through, he can realize. I mean, maybe he can come back and start being just a vehicle for what's out there in the universe, and able to put a true record together rather than all these interferences from the attachment to whatever he thinks is going to enable his creativity, which I just think it's a false mentality.
Sure, definitely. All right, man. Let's pull this back around to Prong real quick. Just and this is just one I've always wanted to ask you, never have, in the 10 times we've done interviews. I'm always curious, not only with Prong, but with a lot of bands that have one song that is kind of their signature song, and then they have a lot of good songs. But if you ask 100 people, they'll name the one song. And you guys clearly with Snap Your Finger, Snap Your Neck. That's the one people will. If you ask 100 people, they'll mention that. 90 of them will say, yeah, that's Prong. I'm curious for you as a musician, if you find that to be beneficial, or if you found that to actually limit some of your growth because people really never gravitated to investigate a lot of the albums that came behind it.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. It's a strange situation. I mean, I still get, when you go out, it's like people will go, oh yeah, snap your fingers, snap your neck, whatever, Right. So, however, I'm so grateful that I have one song that it has spanned, several decades of metalldom or just rock music in general. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, that song still goes over great when we play it. There's been hordes of bands that have covered it, and I'm honored about that. On the other hand, that pushes me to try to have another song that that's been given to me through the universe, comes through me, and able to do that again. And I think like a song like Turnover on Ruining Lives. I mean, that's one of the, it may not be at the magnitude of Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck, but it's almost one of those more magical songs that came together really fast. And then we've been playing it before the record comes out. Like we just got back from Europe, and people are going crazy over it. So, those songs are really fun to have. And, I think that every artist in any, regardless of what genre, they're always shooting for one of those songs, really. I mean, it's not everyone could be the Rolling Stones where you have like dozens of those or maybe hundreds of those type of songs. To get one is a blessing.
Sure. What's on the agenda for the rest of the year for the touring schedule? You out most of the year, or what are you doing?
Yeah, out for most of the year. Prong goes back to Europe this summer for a run of Euro festivals, and those are always crazy. And then we come back and there's an American tour that's booked, and we're making that announcement on the release date of Ruining Lives, which is May 13th, which is 2 weeks from now in America. So we have American tour, and then I go back to Europe again. So we, this is an amazing year for Prong. We're doing like back in the old days where we went to Europe 3 times a year, and it's happening again. So it's fantastic.
Excellent. Before I let you go, I got to ask you what is known as the traditional classic metal show question. We ask everybody this one, and I'm sure you know this guy, so you probably have an answer. How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
His quest for longevity and his ability to be have this career that spans decades, and he's definitely a huge inspiration on me. So. The survival instinct, and I remember Motorhead had this lull in their career, and he just plowed through it, and he stuck to his guns, and he just kept doing it, and now he's an icon, and that's for somebody like me, where I'm getting into the later stage of my career, he's a huge inspiration on me.
Awesome. Well, Tommy, as we said before, the new album is called Ruining Lives. It's out middle of May here in the States. And as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the record, maybe tell us a story about it. So what would you like us to end with?
Let's just go with that fast one that I was talking about, The Book of Change, which it's a pretty old school New York hardcore vibe with a modern tinge, and has, to me, in my fumbling guitar prowess, it's a pretty challenging riff. A collection of riffs in there. So, and a couple of blistering solos in there. So, and let's go with the 240 BPM track on the record.
All right, let's check it out right now. This is brand new stuff from Prong from Ruining Lives right here on your Classic Metal Show.